There are moments in life when uncertainty feels heavier than usual. Moments when you sense that something unseen is pressing against your spirit, questions without answers, fears without names, weariness that doesn't come from the body alone. In those moments, many traditions speak of protection not as something dramatic or loud, but as something steady, present, and quietly powerful. Across spiritual teachings, Archangel Michael is often understood as a symbol of divine protection, courage, and strength in times of inner and outer conflict. When people say Archangel Michael says protection is surrounding you, they are not always speaking of an audible voice. They are speaking of an awareness, a reminder that strength is closer than it feels, that you are not as exposed as fear might suggest. Protection does not always mean the absence of struggle. Often, it means the presence of support while you move through it. It means that even when circumstances feel unstable, you are being steadied. Even when the path feels unclear, you're not walking unguarded. Right now, if you feel tired, overwhelmed, or uncertain, pause for a moment. Take a slow breath. Let your shoulders drop. The message of protection begins with grounding, returning to the present, to your breath, to the truth that you're still here, still standing. In spiritual symbolism, Archangel Michael represents clarity in chaos. The sword he carries is not a weapon of destruction, but of discernment, cutting through fear, confusion, and false narratives that tell you that you are alone or unsafe. Protection, in this sense, begins in the mind. It begins when fear no longer controls the story you tell yourself. You may have been facing challenges that feel relentless, situations where you've had to stay strong for longer than you expected. When protection is surrounding you, it doesn't always remove the challenge, but it prevents the challenge from breaking you. Think about the moments you've already survived, times when you didn't know how you would get through, yet somehow you did. That endurance did not come from nowhere. It came from a strength that activated when you needed it most. Protection often shows up as restraint, as redirection, as doors that didn't open even though you wanted them to, as delays that later revealed themselves as safeguards. In hindsight, many people realize that what felt like loss was actually shielding. The message of Archangel Michael, symbolically speaking, is not nothing will ever hurt you, but rather, nothing will destroy who you are becoming. There is a difference. One promises comfort, the other promises resilience. If you feel vulnerable right now, that does not mean protection is absent. Vulnerability is often a sign that growth is happening, that layers are being shed, that you are becoming more aware, more honest, more open. Protection does not require you to be closed off. It requires you to be anchored. Anchoring happens when you remember your values, when you return to what matters most, when you choose integrity over fear, calm over panic, wisdom over impulse. These are protective acts. In many spiritual traditions, calling upon Archangel Michael is less about summoning an external force and more about activating inner courage. It is about remembering that you have the right to feel safe in your own life, that you are allowed to protect your energy, your time, your peace. If something has been draining you emotionally, mentally, spiritually, this message is an invitation to step back and reassess. Protection sometimes means saying no. Sometimes it means stepping away. Sometimes it means resting without guilt. You are not required to fight every battle. Discernment is protection, knowing when to engage and when to conserve your strength is wisdom. There may be people in your life who do not understand your boundaries, who question your choices, who benefit from your exhaustion. Protection may look like distance, not confrontation. Silence, not explanation. Archangel Michael, as a symbol, stands for truth aligned with compassion. Protection does not mean hardness. It means clarity. It means choosing what preserves your well-being without losing your humanity. You may notice signs of protection already present: supportive people, timely insights, moments of calm in the middle of chaos. These are not coincidences. They are the natural results of alignment between your awareness and your needs. Fear often tells us we are exposed. Protection reminds us we are supported. When you feel surrounded by protection, it is not always because danger is near. Sometimes it is because transformation is near. Growth requires support. Change requires stability. Protection creates the conditions for evolution. If you've been feeling like something is shifting beneath the surface of your life, you're not imagining it. Periods of transition often come with heightened sensitivity. You may feel more aware, more emotional, more reflective. This is not weakness, it is attunement. Protection during these times means staying grounded, keeping routines that nourish you, limiting exposure to what overwhelms you, choosing environments that feel steady rather than chaotic. The symbolic presence of Archangel Michael reminds you to stand tall in who you are becoming, to trust your inner authority, to release the need to constantly defend yourself. True protection does not argue, it stands. You do not need to prove your worth. You do not need to justify your healing. You do not need permission to prioritize peace. If you have felt watched over recently, not in fear, but in reassurance, it may simply be your intuition recognizing safety. The nervous system relaxes when it senses protection. You may notice deeper sleep, clearer thoughts, or a sense of calm that appears without explanation. This is what protection feels like when it is working quietly. Protection also means that not everything that approaches you is meant to stay. Some energies, opportunities, or relationships may drift away naturally. Let them. Release does not mean failure. It often means refinement. You are not losing what is meant for you. You are being shielded from what is not. Archangel Michael's symbolic message is one of courage without aggression, strength without fear, authority without dominance. It is the reminder that you can be gentle and protected at the same time. If you are walking through uncertainty, let this message settle in you. You are not unguarded. You are not exposed. You are not alone in this season. Protection surrounds you in ways that do not always announce themselves, in choices that felt instinctive, in moments where you paused instead of reacted, in paths you didn't take. Sometimes protection looks like a quiet inner voice that says, "Not this way," or "Wait," or "Rest." Honor that voice. There is nothing you need to force right now, nothing you need to chase to feel safe. Safety grows when you trust yourself to respond wisely rather than urgently. If anxiety has been loud, protection invites you to slow down, to breathe, to return to the present moment where fear has less power. Archangel Michael's energy, as understood symbolically, is about standing firm in truth. Truth about who you are, truth about what you need, truth about what you will no longer tolerate. When you stand in truth, protection naturally follows. You may feel called to strengthen your spiritual or reflective practices during this time: prayer, meditation, journaling, or time in nature. These are not escapes, they are stabilizers. They remind you of your center. Protection does not isolate you from the world. It helps you move through it with awareness. If you've been feeling a quiet reassurance lately, an unexplainable sense that things will be okay, that is often what protection feels like. Not certainty about outcomes, but trust in your ability to handle what comes. You are protected not because nothing can go wrong, but because you are becoming capable of responding with wisdom, patience, and strength. And that is powerful. Let go of the idea that protection must look dramatic. Often, it looks like steadiness, like resilience, like clarity returning after confusion. Archangel Michael's message, in this symbolic sense, is a reminder. You are supported by forces greater than fear, whether you call them faith, intuition, wisdom, or inner strength. You are surrounded by protection because you are learning to protect yourself. And that is the highest form of safety there is.